Westview Elementary on a field trip to Chicago. Quite an impressive crowd in front of the Cloud Gate. Nice job, guys. Hey, guys, I'm Marielle Hickson. Thursday is here, so let's get the news going. Now, first up, DACA lives another day. The program that protects some undocumented young people from being forced to leave the country just got some big backing. On Tuesday, a federal judge ruled against President Trump's decision to end the DACA program. DACA is a deferred action for childhood arrivals, a program put into place by President Obama that protects people who were brought to the U.S. illegally as children. Through DACA, about 700,000 young undocumented immigrants are allowed to stay and work in the U.S. President Trump wants to shut down the program, but so far, 3 courts have ruled against him. As part of the latest court ruling, the Department of Homeland Security has 90 days to give a better explanation as to why DACA should end. If they can't come up with one, the Trump administration will be forced to reopen DACA and start accepting new applications. But this isn't the end of the line in this ongoing battle. Many expect the issue to end up in the Supreme Court. And did you catch today's words in the news? Undocumented immigrant, a foreign-born person who doesn't have a legal right to be or remain in the United States. Over the past few days, it's fair to say President Trump has made a new friend with French President Emmanuel Macron. But alongside the fun and fancy dinners for the official state visit of France comes a message from the French president to American lawmakers.
The President of the French Republic.
In an historic speech yesterday to a joint session of Congress, the French president called on Congress to rejoin the Paris Climate Accord, a worldwide agreement to reduce greenhouse gases and slow down climate change. President Trump pulled out of the agreement after being elected.
I believe in building a better future for our children, which requires offering them a planet that is still habitable in 25 years.
Now, when it comes to climate change and temperatures rising, most of us think it's all about what's up in the air. But as Keith Kosinski shows us, the cause of climate change can come from the ground up.
Out here, deep in the woods of Massachusetts, are graves where scientists measure life after death.
Microbial communities, like bacteria and fungi, are really important in the decomposition process.
It's not the kind of graveyard you'd see in a scary movie. In these soil plots at the Harvard Forest, microorganisms are breaking down dead organic material. They're part of long-term studies examining how climate change affects the forest and soil.
You can see that there's a whole community that you're like completely unaware of normally.
Soil is pretty complex. There are many levels to it. It's full of different sands and clay, worms and bugs, and even smaller things like bacteria and fungi. Those microbes help break down dead organic material like leaves, bugs, and even animal remains. As the microbes eat up this dead stuff, they breathe, taking in oxygen and pushing out carbon into the soil.
Microbes respond to temperature increases by working a little bit harder. They will be a little bit more stressed out, and so they might be emitting more CO2.
So, what's the big deal if microbes are all hyped up when it gets warm?
This experiment is really to understand how forests in the northeastern U.S. are responding to climate warming.
Sarita Frey is a professor at the University of New Hampshire and a microbial ecologist. She takes us to the Harvard Forest to check out the soil warming experiments.
If you take this little chunk of soil and you scale that up to the entire planet, then the activities of the 200 billion organisms that live in this little chunk of soil actually can have really strong effects on climate and on the atmosphere.
The carbon from the microbes flows into the air as carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas, which traps heat around the Earth, warming the planet and causing our climate to change. Here at the Harvard Forest, scientists like Sarita test this. Since 1991, scientists have heated some of these soil plots by 9 degrees Fahrenheit, sending electricity through these cables into an underground heating pad, testing how the soil responds to increased temperatures.
What's this device right here?
Yeah, so we refer to this as an IRGA, or an infrared gas analyzer, but it's really just a device for measuring the amount of carbon dioxide that the microorganisms and plant roots are producing, and that's coming out of the soil.
A recent study based on the observation shows 17% more carbon was lost from the soil in the heated plots over the period of the study compared to the non-heated plots, meaning warmer soil releases more carbon dioxide into the air, with the potential to further warm our planet.
You may think, well, these are so small, how can they really translate to what potentially could happen on a global scale? Can you describe that?
We are collaborating with scientists around the world to pool all of our data together, and a recent study that we published showed that what we're seeing at Harvard Forest is consistent with what others are seeing.
Back here in the lab at the University of New Hampshire, Sarita and her students, Shauna and Christina, are on a mission to learn more about the microbes from the Harvard forest, with the goal of predicting how climate change will affect the planet.
Microbes are really hard to study because they're underground and a fairly new topic, and it's interesting to see what they're going to do in the future.
Carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere and the increase in atmospheric temperature is beyond anything that we've observed in a very, very long time on this planet, and it's going to change the way human society functions.
Is there a way that humans can just go about their normal business the way we have been going about for the last couple hundred years, and the Earth kind of correct itself?
I don't think so, because we're already seeing very strong effects of climate change. A number one solution would be to reduce our emissions of greenhouse gases, develop smarter cities, smarter coastal environments, so that when we do have extreme weather events, we are prepared to handle those more effectively than we currently are.
Keith Kosinski, Channel 1 News.
Thanks, Keith. And for more on science and the effects of climate change, just check out our featured stories on channel1.com. Okay, now coming up, they hit the red carpet in style, but this is no ordinary group of people. We'll explain after the break.